The next topic in Eikyū hyakushu is the night of the 15th of the 8th month. This date might seem obscure, but it marked the exact middle of the season of autumn according to the lunar calendar, and was also poetically the time when the moon was at its fullest and brightest, and so it was a date for moon viewing parties, and, of course, for composing poetry on the beauty of the moonlight. If you are ever fortunate enough to visit the Katsura Detached Imperial Palace in Kyoto, the Katsura Rikyu, your guide will point out a platform in the garden, if I remember correctly, which was specially positioned to enable people to view the moon to its best advantage, although, sadly, it's never used for that now. It's in locations like that, though, that the Eikyū hyakushu poets might have composed these poems. 結ぶ手の水に宿れる光よや、今宵はいとど、望月と見る. Cupped in my hands, lodging in the water, does this light, tonight especially, make the moon seem full? Akinaka captures a single brief instant in his poem. His speaker is thirsty, or perhaps in the midst of washing his face. He has reached into a basin of water, or simply cupped his hands when kneeling by a stream or a pool, and is captivated suddenly by the reflection of the moon in the water in his hands, particularly bright and beautiful on this of all nights. Suminoboru hikari yoki yoki, akishimare, shinae urabure, tsuki o miru kana. Clearly climbing, its light so pure, with autumn's close drooping sadly, does the moon appear. Nakazane links the waxing and waning of the moon and its transit across the sky with the passage of the season of autumn. Just as the moon rises to its apogee and then sinks slowly behind the horizon as night wears on, and just as it swells to fullness and then shrinks again, so too does autumn arrive. At its beginning, barely distinguishable from summer, and at its end from winter. Tonight, on the 15th of the 8th month, the season is at its height, but that inevitably means that from the following day, the season will be in decline. Mochizuki no koma o kezuke o, Osaka no sugima no kage ni awasete zo miru. With this full moon, both the tally of tribute colts and at Meeting Hill between the cedar trunks, light will I see together. Toshiyori links the moon with another seasonal event. Autumn was when the horses which formed part of the tax take paid by the provinces to the imperial court were delivered to the capital. His speaker has travelled east from Kyoto to Osaka, Meeting Hill, to watch the animals' arrival. Maybe he's an official tasked with counting them, or simply interested in horseflesh. Toshiyori had a position in the Bureau of Carpentry and Palace Repair, so he might well have been interested in this when he wasn't composing poetry. In any case, just as the horses being driven to the capital will appear on the road, so he can see shafts of bright moonlight shining through the spaces in the forest trees. Tsukikage mo aki no hikazu o kazoete ya, koyoi mo naka ni terimasaru ran. Should I the moonlight with the number of days of autumn count up? Tonight, among them all, it seems to shine the brightest. Tadafusa adopts a familiar questioning pose in his poem. Moonlight, of course, is something that cannot be counted, as his speaker knows full well, but we human beings like to impose our views artificially on the world, so thinking in those terms, tonight's moonlight seems brightest, although that's a purely human imposition on something natural and unmeasurable. This is a poem which makes you wonder. Does imposing our own restrictions on the moon make it less awe-inspiring, more manageable? So Is this poem an attempt to seek comfort? Or is Tadafusa pointing out the ridiculousness of our human attempts to place boundaries around the natural world? Mochizuki no yama no haizuru yosoi ni kanate mo hikaru aki no sora kana. The full moon, emerging from the mountain's edge, garbs all. Long since has its light filled the autumn sky. After the previous poem's depths, Kanemasa gives us a rest, focused around the metaphor of the moonlight as a piece of cloth laid over the landscape, throwing everything into relief. It presents us with a single image of a bright, moonlit night. Aki no yo no tsuki wa umi yori izureba ya, shio to tomo ni wa michimasaru ran. On an autumn night does the moon from the sea emerge? Together with the tide, does it seem most full? Higo cleverly links the phases of the moon with the rising and falling of the tide, and presents us with the image of the full moon rising from the horizon and casting its light across the water to where she sits watching. Itohagi no hawake no tsuyu no kazukazu ni yoru tomo miezu terasu tsukikage. Truly are the bush clover leaves, every one lined with dewdrops beyond number. It seems not night at all in the shining moonlight. Daishin, too, presents us with a single image from a moonlit night. Dew in autumn was particularly heavy, and with the full moon shining down on it and reflecting back, it seems as bright as day. That's it for the 15th day of the 8th month. The next topic is the 9th day of the 9th month, the date of the annual Chrysanthemum Festival.